The next two guys that are going to talk are from Sweden. There have come loads of great young entrepreneurs out from Sweden the last years, and I admire that a lot. The first one out is Carl Waldekrantz from Tictail, so give him a big applause.
Hey, am I on the microphone? Yeah, it feels as if I'm going to fall down here. Stage dive, that would be cool now. So this is actually my first time in Oslo, which is strange because I live just across the street almost. But today I've met like the crown prince and princess. I've been in City Hall drinking champagne, and as a startup that is sort of not profitable yet, I've never felt this successful. So thank you, Mesh. It's a pleasure to be here. I think when thinking about the internet right now, one of the things that interests me a lot is how we at the same time live so much ahead in the future and so way back when. And I guess the best example to take is just my flight over here. Obviously I flew with Norwegian, and I had a video conversation on the airplane, on Skype, on my iPad. And just those things, you know, like you're 10,000 meters above the ground, you're speaking over a video on a device that is this thin and has a touch screen. It's just like, your head explodes because it's so cool. And I mean, I used to grow up watching the Jetsons. I don't know if you're familiar with the series, but not even them, they could like think of a future that's that great. Yet at the same time, a lot of areas of the internet is just so past, and it's like there's so much areas for disruption and innovation. And most of those areas, I think, right now are in the business-to-business space. There's so much to be done in the business-to-business space. The area that I sort of looked at and focused in on was e-commerce. Like, it felt to me that many parts of e-commerce were still stuck in the 90s, kind of. So before starting Tictail, I was working at an ad agency. I was doing marketing communications online. And I was working as a designer, and my favorite area was e-commerce, because it was the one point where kind of design and business converge perfectly. The better the design is, the better the business will be, rather than classical marketing communications where you have an action and a message that are disconnected, like buy shoes, and you have to go into a store and buy those shoes. And working with e-commerce, it was so much fun, but the systems were a plague. Like, it would be so slow-moving, expensive, boring systems to work with. And we asked ourselves, like, why isn't there like a Tumblr but for e-commerce? Just a super easy, pretty social way to start an online store. And what we did then, me and two friends, was that we said, like, let's just try this. So we started meeting up every weekend in my kitchen. Every Friday we would meet in my kitchen. And we would hack from Friday till Sunday, and non-stop on this sort of idea of making e-commerce more simple. And then every month, for 6 months, we would take half our salary and we would put it away in this joint savings account, which would be for the first 6 months of Tictail. And we did this for 6 months, and it was a lot of fun and a crazy time. You would like go on fake vacations and come back to work all pale in the face, and they were like, how was your vacation? And you're like, yeah, that was really good, actually. But 6 months later, we launched our first store on the platform. It was my mother's store. She's like the benchmark customer for us. She's this quirky artist that sells porcelain with old school tattoos painted on them. It's a quirky business, but it's good. It's now, also Jacob, who isn't here anymore, I just noticed. His wife is also on our platform now, so that's good. We launched our platform about 11 months ago, and we now power more than 13,000 stores. So it's been a really exciting year for us. 81% of our stores have recommended Tictail, which is like the one fact that I'm most proud about. We power stores to everything from like fashion bloggers that want to sell their closet to like big global fashion brands like Cheap Monday. And last week, actually, Lufthansa launched a Tictail store, which is pretty cool. One of the things that's been the best part, how much time? Okay, about Tictail. One of the things that I kind of missed here is that during the time when we launched Tictail, we we launched Tictail. We wanted to start this company. We put up one of these splash screens, you know, landing pages, which all startups have nowadays. There's even a startup just doing startup pages, LaunchRock. And the thing that was different about our page was that in this page, we put in a message. In the bottom of the source code of this page, we put in a hidden message. And this was May 2011, so like probably not so many of you knew about Tictail before today, but back in May 2011, nobody knew about Tictail. And the message we put in is that if you're as an eager developer as we are, then you should reach out and we'll like change e-commerce together. A month passed by and this message into space went nowhere. And then one night, Geer calls me, and one of my co-founders, and he's like, Carl, you won't believe this, but somebody just emailed us. and this somebody was a guy called Siavash. And he was at the time the tech lead for Blocket, Sweden's biggest site, like Craigslist in Sweden. And he came by the day after to have a cup of coffee and chat, and that coffee turned out to be this 4-hour conversation, which turned out to be a dinner, and we later went on to have a walk and pretty much started hanging out every day for the next 3 months. It was like dating for business. And 3 months later, we asked Siavash, like, would you want to give up like all of your salary and quit your job and join this company with 3 people you've never met before? And Siavash, who is a crazy person, said yes. And we became 4 founders of Tictail. And I think that thinking of Tictail and the idea of Tictail, we make e-commerce easier. That's not really an innovation, it's more of evolution. And if I can take one thing that's been the greatest part about this year, it's not so much just working with a startup, it's the people that I've been working with. So people sometimes say, like, don't work with friends or whatnot. And if I could give some piece of advice, it's the absolute opposite. Like, try to find the people you want to spend the absolute most time with. And then it doesn't matter so much what the idea is, because ideas change. That's the nature of ideas. Like, ideas that doesn't change are the ideas that kill companies. But a strong team really doesn't have to change. So that's it. Thanks, guys.